Is Berlin still considered a cheap city to live in Germany? For some reason, since after the pandemic, more and more people are moving to Berlin, and the situation is just crazy. I don't know what's happening. The whole world, their brother, their sister, their mother, everybody decided to move to Berlin, or that's how it feels anyway. And that has greatly impacted the cost of living and especially the apartments, because there is a higher demand for apartments than there is supply for the apartments. I don't know why this is the case, but that's simply the case. And you know, with the law of demand and supply, then the prices go up, and the prices are going up and up and up. And it's getting worse for the people who are just moving to the city. Like you, if you're watching this video, then you're probably planning to move to Berlin. So the prices are much higher than they used to be before. The first time I made a cost of living in Berlin video was 3 years ago, I think 3 years ago. And let me tell you, in those 3 years, things have changed dramatically. I moved to Berlin 5 years ago, and even in the 5 years, things have changed so much. Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Wale O. I'm a former HR girl turned tech girl, and I've been living in Germany for 5 years now. And I decided that it's about time for me to make an updated video on the cost of living in Berlin in 2024, because things have changed. People used to say before, when I initially moved to Berlin, and even before then, people that have been living in Berlin much longer than I have, that Berlin used to be considered as a cheap place to live. But let me just break the news to you, that is no longer the case. So the way this video is gonna go, I'm gonna break down the cost into essential costs and non-essential costs, so you can mix and match as you like, right? Are you ready? First cost we're going to talk about, which is the biggest cost that you're going to incur anywhere you're living in, is the cost of accommodation. Now, since the pandemic, cost of accommodation has skyrocketed in Berlin. I think right now, Berlin is the second most expensive city in Germany in terms of accommodation, and it did not used to be the case before. Munich is still number one, but Berlin is now number two, because the cost of housing, the cost of apartment, the cost of accommodation has become just so crazy. And please remember that if you're comparing it to other cities, please remember that generally the salaries in the eastern part of Germany are lower than the western part of Germany. So the salaries in Berlin did not increase. So we are still all operating on the same salary, but the cost of accommodation is increasing massively. And one thing is, the people that have super old contracts, so contracts from like 10 years ago or 20 years ago, if you've been here for that long, or even 8 years ago, they have a better deal than the people who are moving into the city more recently. Because if you're moving to the city more recently, then you have to pay this ridiculous amounts for accommodation. So now let's get into the specifics, because I've been talking about how expensive it is, right? But you want to know how expensive it is. So right now, if you are looking, let me check my notes. If you're looking for a 79 square meter 2-room apartment, for example, you'll be paying anything from 1,600 cold and above. Of course, it depends on where you're looking for this accommodation. If you're closer to the city center, where people call within the ring, then of course it's going to be more expensive than if you're going more outside. But the surprising thing is, like before, if you're going more outside to the outskirts of the city, they used to be significantly cheaper. But from what I'm seeing now, even the accommodation, the apartments on the outskirts of the city, they are also now getting expensive. And I'm like, who is going to pay this amount of money to live that far? Like, makes no sense. I saw an apartment in, I think it was a 90 square meter apartment in an area called Prenzlauer Berg, which is kind of centrally located. I think it's within the ring also, but it's considered a very central and very desirable part of Berlin. And this 4-room apartment, 90 square meters, is going for like 2,800 euros per month. Granted, it's a big apartment and it has 4 rooms. In Germany, they usually count the living room as a room as well. So a 4-room apartment in Germany will be, in maybe American lingo, a 3-bedroom apartment. So they count the living room as well. So the cost of accommodation is getting crazy. If you have a family, you need money, because not only are you struggling this apartment with people who have high levels of income as well, you're also, everybody's desperate, so everybody is struggling for this apartment. And I made a video about the whole process of finding an apartment in Germany. I will leave the link to the video here so that you can watch it if you want to watch it. The whole process of looking for an apartment in Germany is complicated. Like, you have to send in an application, you have to write a cover letter, and you have to be fast fingers first. Like, once you see the advert for the accommodation or the apartment, you have to be one of the first people to submit your application, and then maybe you get interviewed or something weird like that, and then they will choose you if you are worthy enough to be blessed with this apartment. So it's not as straightforward as you would think it is. It's a bit more complicated in Germany finding an apartment. So in Berlin, let's just say if you are a single person and you're looking for like a studio apartment, for example, in a more centrally located area, then you should be budgeting anything. A studio apartment should be budgeting anything from 900 on the cheap end, 900 to, let's say, 1,300 for a studio apartment. That's the going rate these days. Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this because I still remembered when studio apartments were much cheaper in Berlin. That's so crazy, and that's just 5 years ago. And then if you're looking for a shared apartment, you can pay anything, like you want to live with other people, maybe 2 people or 3 people in a shared apartment where you have your own room and then you guys share the kitchen and the bathroom. You can be paying from 500, 600, 700 euros for a room in a shared apartment. And for this also, you also still have to apply and send a cover letter and so on and so forth, and do all the process before you are chosen for the shared apartment. Some of the websites where you can find an apartment in Berlin are, the most popular one is ImmoScout24. And on that one, if you want to stand the chance of even getting invited for a visitation or for an apartment viewing, then you have to pay the premium package. You have to pay for the premium package, otherwise your application will not even be at the top of the ones that the landlord will see. And nowadays we're seeing things like landlords are requesting that you can only apply for the apartment if you have a premium application, or a premium, what's it called, premium subscription. If you have a premium subscription on the ImmoScout, that's when you can apply for these apartments. Things like really getting crazy. Anyway, so we've talked about like studio apartment, we've talked about Vegas, which is shared apartments. And then if you're looking for like a one room is a studio. If you're looking for a 2-room apartment or a 3-room apartment or a 4-room apartment, then you're looking at like higher prices. So I saw an apartment which was actually in Mitte. Mitte is like super central in the city, Berlin Mitte. I saw an apartment. It was a very nice apartment. I think it was a penthouse apartment with like 3 rooms or 4 rooms thereabout. It was going for like 3,500 euros per month. I know for people who are watching this video, or people who have lived somewhere like London or Paris or the US, they think like maybe these are reasonable prices. But believe me, in Berlin, these are unreasonable prices. The prices are not, like, they're not making any sense at all. But obviously people are paying the prices because, I mean, people are living in these places and these apartments go very quickly. So people are paying 3,500, 4,000 for the apartments. Let's move on. The next big expense, of course, if you're living in any city, is usually groceries. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but even groceries have become expensive. I don't know what's going on. Everything, inflation. I mean, we all know that inflation is everywhere in the world. Many countries in the world are experiencing inflation. But yeah, we're also feeling it in Berlin as well. And I think this is not a Berlin only phenomenon. It's also affecting every other city in Germany as well. So I guess you have to take this as a cost of living in Germany video as well. But anyway, before, I used to spend on groceries, I could spend like, let's say 100, 120 euros per month. And I don't eat a lot, so maybe that's why. But nowadays, 100, 120 euros per month is not gonna get you anything. Forget it. Like, what? Like, buying groceries, what are you gonna buy? Like, it's not gonna get you anything. So nowadays I spend about, how much do I spend on groceries per month? I think I spend about 300 euros per month on groceries. And that's like, I cook quite often, but some weeks not so much, some weeks more. Like, it just depends on my mood. But give and take, I spend about 300 euros per month on groceries. If you have a family, it could be much. If you eat less meat or less specialty items, then it could be less. But for me, I go grocery shopping in a regular supermarket. Like, yeah, we have lots of supermarkets. We have the budget ones like Lidl and Aldi. We have the mid-range ones like Areva, Edeka, Kaufland. Which other one do we have again? Netto and Penny. I think Netto is a more budget one and Penny is like mid-range. I don't know. I don't shop at Netto and Penny, so I don't know. But these are the different supermarkets we have. And if you're gonna spend money buying like specialty goods, if you like going to the Asian store, the African store, Indian store, like you like to buy these specialty things from certain parts of the world so that you can cook certain things, that you would spend more, because this most of these things are imported into the country. So but if you want to go basic, I think groceries is something that is very particular to you. It depends on how often you cook, what kind of stuff you cook. Do you eat more meat or less meat? Do you buy more specialty items or not? That will determine how much you would spend. But for a single person, like one person, I think you can budget around 200 to 300 euros per month on groceries. So one thing that has changed for the better, I have good news for you in this video. It's not all doom and gloom, right? It's not all, oh my God, everything has become expensive. One thing that has become better is in the area of transportation. So now we have this 49 euro Deutschland ticket, which I think it was introduced before, no, not before Corona, after the pandemic. It was introduced to encourage more people to take public transportation, which in Berlin the public transportation is so good, like it's so well connected. We did not need too much encouragement to use this option, because most people in Berlin use public transportation because it's just very good. And if you need to get to other places, you have other options like Miles and Bolt Drive, and you can also use Uber and Bolt as well. So there are so many options to move around. Anyway, if you want to use the public transportation ticket, there is a new, well, not so new anymore. There's a 49 euro Deutschland ticket, which allows you to use public transportation within the city, as well as regional train, intercity regional trains. So public transportation within the city includes things like buses, trams, S-Bahn, and S-Bahn is the train, and the U-Bahn, that's the underground metro. I think that's how it's called in English. Yeah, the underground metro. So you can use all this public transportation system, and then you can also go intercity. For example, if you want to go from Berlin to Potsdam, that's also covered with the regional train. That's also covered in the 49 euro ticket. If you want to go from Berlin to Hamburg, for example, and you want to use the regional train, you can also do that, but it takes much longer than if you use the yeah, I think it's ICE in English. It's A in German. If you want to use the ICE train, then you have to pay. This high-speed train is not included in the 49 euro ticket, so you have to pay for it. Another expense you should be looking at will be your cost for your phone. Because Wi-Fi is everywhere now, I don't usually subscribe to buying all those internet packages that are very high and expensive. So I think you can budget around 10 euros for your phone plan. So there are providers like O2, like Aldi Talk, like Vodafone, and so on. They have different providers. You can go online and check, but you should budget around 10 euros. More than 10 euros is not necessary per month. So with accommodation, one of the things I forgot to mention is that there's something called warm and cold rent in Germany. And when you're calculating your rent, you should usually, they will tell you what the cold rent is, which is, I think cold rent excludes things like electricity and heating, and warm includes electricity and heating. But for internet, most times you have to pay for your internet yourself and electricity yourself as well. So for the internet, you should be budgeting something around 50 euros per month or 40 euros. I remember I was once on a plan that was like 30 euros per month, so it depends. So you should budget anything between 30 euros and 50 euros for really good high-speed internet in Berlin. So another essential cost in Berlin that you should budget for is the TV and radio license, and this is charged per apartment. So if you live in a shared apartment, then you guys will have to split this bill. However, if you live on your own, in an apartment, then you have to pay this bill. And it costs 18 euros and 70 cents, I think, per month. And it's not optional. So if you do not pay, these people know where you live. Like, if there is any agency that knows how to find you and where you live in Berlin, it's this, what do they call it? Gay it said or something. Gay it said, yeah. These people that do the TV and radio license. So the TV and radio license is for the public broadcasters in Germany. That's TDF, ARD, or in English, ZDF. ARD. I'm so used to calling these things in German that I have to think about how it's like English. So you have to pay the TV and radio license whether you like it or not. It's not optional. Every household or every apartment has to pay 18 euros and 70 cents for the TV and radio license. Whether you have a TV or you watch TV or not, you have to pay. The next cost is the cost of health insurance. So the thing in Germany is if you're employed in Germany, usually the health insurance is 14.3% of your gross salary, and is usually deducted before you receive your net salary. It's one of the 1 million deductions that you get, but let's not get into that. I think I made a video about explaining your pay slip in Germany. I will, if I can link it, I will link it in the description box. But anyway, the health insurance is 14.3% and it's I cannot say this word. It's contributory. It's contributory in nature. So your employer pays half and you pay half as well. But the thing is, you don't really have to budget for this, because if you're employed in Germany, then it will already be deducted from your gross salary before you get your net salary at the end of the month. But if you're self-employed or you're a freelancer, then you have to figure out like which provider to use, how much you have to pay, and so on and so forth. So I don't know too much about that, so I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about like for employed people. So now that we've talked about, I think we've covered all the essential costs, let's talk about the non-essential costs. I consider like eating out a non-essential cost, because you can choose to eat out or not eat out. But if you're not eating out in Berlin, oh my God, you're missing so much, because the food scene in Berlin is amazing. There are so many different restaurant options. I think I will boldly say that Berlin is the most diverse city in Germany. That's why many people want to move here. And so with all that diversity and different people from different cultures comes the food scene naturally. So with eating out, you should budget depending on the type of eating out you want to do. There are different price ranges for restaurants. There is like the basic one, the basic, the premium package, and the luxe package, you know. No. But there are different levels. What I like about Berlin, that it offers so many varieties. So if you want to eat like, I just want to eat and go home, or you want to do like takeaway or whatever, you can spend anything like from 10 euros, or you can even spend like, if you're going to get like a simple doner, like this doner kebab that's very popular in Germany, you can spend anything from like 7 euros to 10 euros for a doner kebab, depending on where you're getting it. Actually, doner kebab used to be like 4 euros before. Yes, you could get a doner kebab for 4 euros, but now it's 7 euros for doner kebab. So inflation. Anyway, on a more serious note, so if you're going for those kind of basic eats, you can spend like 7 euros for a doner kebab, 10 euros, or you can spend up to like 15 euros for like basic eating. But if you want to go to a mid-range restaurant, you want to have a drink, you want to eat something nice, you want to like table service and that kind of stuff, like mid-range, nothing fancy, but mid-range normal restaurant, you can pay anything from like 25 euros to 40 to 50, depending on the kind of food you eat or how many things you order. For one person, you can spend between this range. It could be 50 euros is a bit on the higher range for one person, and 25 euros like the bottom range, including drinks and all that stuff. Then if you're going to the like, I want to have some fancy eating, like you want to go for like a nice dinner, night out kind of thing with a bit more, you know, with more something in it, you can find like high-end restaurants. No, I don't want to say high-end, because fine dining is a totally different thing entirely, and fine dining is more like if you're celebrating something. But let's talk about more like, how do we describe something that is not fine dining, but it's also not mid-range eating as well. Do you say premium? Like a premium nice restaurant, you can pay anything from like, including drinks, alcohol, everything, you can pay like 80 euros upwards. Like the sky is your limit. Once alcohol is involved, the price just like, the sky is your limit. You can drink one bottle, you can drink one glass. But if you're going to like more of an like fancier restaurant, you can pay like 80 euros, 70 euros, 80 euros upwards. So again, it's so individual. That's the thing with this cost of living videos, they're so difficult to make because it's such an individual thing. Expense costs, they're such individual things that you never know. But I'm just giving you guys estimates in this video for the sake of knowledge for the people who want to move to Berlin and are wondering what the prices are like in 2024, because it's not cheap anymore. So another cost I would like to talk about is the cost of socializing, because especially if you're moving to a country where you're new, you have to socialize. Like if you want to make friends, you want to meet people, you have to socialize, and socializing costs money. I made a video about how to make friends when you move to a new country. I made it. So many videos I made, I will leave it in the description box or put it at the end of this video so you can watch it. I really, really recommend that you watch that video so that you're not saying you're lonely in a new country. But anyway, socializing costs money. And socializing includes like things for going for activities, attending events, going for drinks with friends, that kind of stuff, going for cocktails. So I think it's so difficult to put a price on this because it's such an individual thing. If you like to go for like, there are so many free things to do first of all, so maybe it's a good idea to exhaust the free things first before you find like the things you like to do. For example, if you like to go for art exhibitions, there are free art exhibitions and there are paid ones as well. So maybe you can go for the free ones first before you go for the paid one. But for the socializing, I will say maybe you can budget like 200, 300 euros depending on what you like to do. Because if you like to go for nice cocktail events or to nice cocktail bars like I like to do, then the drinks in these bars are quite expensive, and it's so easy to drink like 3 drinks, 4 drinks before you blink. You're already like, and each of these drinks in a fancy nice cocktail bar, these drinks cost like 18 euros per drink, or like 15, 18 euros, 20 euros per drink. 20, I think I've been to one that was like 21, 22 euros. Again, these are really like high-end bars, so you don't have to go to these high-end bars if that's not your cup of tea. If you like to go for more like just normal bars, of course the drinks are cheaper. Maybe like you can get a drink for like 10 euros or 11 euros thereabout. And I think one time I saw one place where the drink was like 5 euros and I was so surprised. Again, I'm not a big drinker, so I go to the nice cocktail bar and 1 drink is enough for me, or 2 drinks max, and it's okay for me. But if you're somebody who likes to drink a lot, then maybe it's not a good idea to go to these expensive cocktail bars, because then you'll be drinking a lot, and before you know, you already paid 100 euro or 150 euros for one evening. So again, it's up to you, but anything between 100 to 300 budget for your socializing, going out, meeting friends, trying to make friends, trying to meet people. And if you don't have the budget for that, please do the 3 things: going for a walk, going for free activities. Watch my video on how to make friends. You will learn how to go for different activities and so on and so forth. So for my ladies who are watching this video, of course, we know that there is a cost that comes with being a lady, woman. If you like to take care of yourself, like things like these are non-essential costs, of course, because it's optional, right? So beauty treatments, things like your nails, your hair, if you're doing laser, if you want to do facials, lashes, all these things, they can add up quite quickly. Like, what? Oh my God, it's expensive to be a girl. Like, especially if you like to take care of yourself, wow, it costs money. So if you like to do all these treatments for nails, you can get things for nails. If you're doing things like gel nail polish and all that kind of stuff, you can pay anything from like 35, no, it's not 35 anymore, that was before, 40 euros to 60 euros for your nails. If you want to do a mani-pedi, like hands and nails, then you can be paying like 80 euros. And if you want to do lashes, I don't know, lashes are quite expensive. Thankfully, I don't do my lashes. I just use mascara because Anybody got time? If you want to do your lashes, I saw a place where, I think she said the lashes were like 180 euros, and I was like, please, I will use my mascara. But yeah, lashes can be quite expensive. And also, if you want to do things like laser, depending on the places you want to laser, this can cost like anything from like 50, 60, 70, 80, depending on where you want to laser. So these things, again, they're not like essential. It's optional if you want to budget for these things. But I thought, especially for women, I wanted to include this beauty essentials for women, so that you are aware the costs of these things in Berlin. And for hair, I can only speak for Black woman's hair, because that's who I am and that's what I know. I don't know how much it costs to go to a salon for a non-Black person to get their hair done. But for a Black woman's hair, let me just confess, I usually make my hair myself, because first of all, I don't want to pay for somebody who has no idea what they're doing. Like, I'm not gonna pay you lots of money, because making black hair is quite expensive. I don't know why. I'm not gonna pay you a lot of money when you don't know what you're doing. So for me, ooh, I'm touching my microphone. But for me, I just decide to do my hair. But the things I don't do myself, for example, if I want to braid my hair, then I go to a braiding lady, and for braiding, you can pay from like 150, 200, 250 euros. But if you know somebody that wants to like do you good, you can pay like 100 euros for like, please, I'm helping you. I'm helping your situation. So if you braid quite often, I think you should include that. Otherwise, learn how to do your hair, because making your hair is expensive. Now I'm a pro with getting my hair done by myself. Like, I have my system down pat, and then whenever it's in summertime, I prefer to braid my hair because it's just so hot. So I just go to the braiding lady and have my hair braided. So in conclusion, the reason why I'm making this video is that there's this misconception that Berlin is cheap, and no, it's no longer the case anymore that Berlin is cheap in Germany. Of course, as a capital city, it's still significantly cheaper than, as a capital city of a European or Western European country, is still significantly cheaper than, let's say, Paris or London, for example. Or I know New York is not Western Europe, but you get what I mean. And it's not the capital either. So what am I saying? Anyway, but you know what I mean. Like, other big cities that are like Berlin Standard or Berlin Asia Cent or something, they are much more expensive. But Berlin used to be much, much cheaper before, and things are just changing. Even in the 5 years that I've been here, like, prices have gone up. So I cannot imagine what it must feel like for people who have been here for like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. It must be crazy. So anyway, I hope you learned a thing or two, or I was able to give you an idea of what the prices for the cost of living, what the prices are in Berlin in 2024. I hope you liked this video, enjoyed it. Please, if you did, please, if you did or you did not enjoy this video, please just like it. Just give this video a like, because I don't know, the YouTube algorithm has changed so much that nowadays, if people are not liking the video, they're not recommending it. And today is a public holiday. Instead of me to be chilling and enjoying my life, I'm here filming video for YouTube. So please help your girl out and smash that like button. It's free, okay? Thank you so much. And thank you very much for watching. All the videos I mentioned, I will leave them in the description box, and I will put them here somewhere, and you can watch those videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.